At my son's wedding, my daughter-in-law revealed her shocking grudge that I sold their house. The day was drenched in laughter, the kind that the sun seems to pour over the world itself, but beneath the layers of joy lay an undercurrent so disturbing it left everyone gasping for air. The wedding of Jake and Emily was supposed to be a celebration, a fairy tale marked with vows and tears of happiness. But when Emily stood before the crowd, her eyes aflame with something dark and ancient, it ignited a storm that blew everyone away. The colors of the decorations, vibrant yellows and striking whites, couldn't disguise the rising tension. Guests shared nervous glances, whispering like leaves rustled by an unexpected wind. In that surreal moment, Emily unveiled a grudge that had slumbered too long, both shocking and enraging, a venom that poisoned the air. With each word she spoke, it twisted the sanctity of love into a grotesque tableau. People leaned in, shoulders tense, breaths held, as she accused my family of betrayal. It felt like a balloon on the verge of bursting, filled with unbridled pain and accusations I had never seen coming, that I could feel the heat rising in my chest, pulse racing with disbelief. How could she do this, on the happiest day of our lives? Face flushed with anger, I fought hard to maintain my composure, but a lump formed in my throat, choking back the truth. A shiver of vulnerability danced through me as the audience's collective shock registered in widened eyes and silenced mouths. A chaotic orchestra of murmurs erupted. Did you hear that? This can't be real. The mood swirled dangerously, everyone transfixed, caught in this chaotic whirlwind. Before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. As Emily laid our family's secrets bare, the faces around me twisted in confusion. My husband, Tom, went pale, his eyes darting like a terrified deer caught in headlights. Each accusation twisted the knife deeper. Friends stood frozen, uncertainty thick in the air. What side would they choose? The symphony of gasps crescendoed, drowning out the wedding vows which now seemed absurdly far away. Then, amidst this chaos, an idea sparked inside me, irrational yet strangely liberating. What if I sold their house? The very home they'd built their dreams in, the walls whispering secrets of laughs and disappointments. Selling it felt like reclaiming my power, a way to strike back. As I glanced back at Emily, who was still basking in her chaotic revelation, a dangerous smirk flickered across my lips. I had a plan. But was it too late to save my family from the wreckage? The crowd began to murmur again. I could feel their excitement, fear mixed with morbid curiosity. What would I do next? The wedding cake loomed behind me, innocent and oblivious, just showcasing the looming disaster ahead. What would I say to Jake, my son? Would he forgive us? Or was I stepping into a tempest with no way out? All I knew was the game had changed, and as I took a deep breath, everything hung in the balance, ready to tip over the edge. The murmur of the crowd intensified, a slow wave of unease washing over everyone. Faces shifted from shock to concern, and I could feel their eyes boring into my soul. I could almost hear the thoughts bouncing between them. What will she do next? The air felt electric, charged with anticipation, and yet, all I could think about was the fire scorching through my veins. Emily's face twisted, still reveling in the chaos she had unleashed. She had stepped out of the shadows and into the light, but now she stood before us, lit by the flames of her own rage. I wanted to scream that this wasn't the moment for such revelations. It was our son's wedding, not an arena for a family feud played out in public. But the words lodged in my throat, choking out every rational thought. With the audience captivated, my heart pounded as I considered my next move. Could I really sell their house? Would that even solve the problem, or just escalate a nightmare? My thoughts spiraled like a tornado, kicking up debris of regret and anger. Jake's face was one full of confusion. I had always wanted him to be happy, to have the kind of love that was pure. Yet here I was, standing on the precipice of revenge. Emily. Enough. Tom finally shouted, breaking the spell that had entrapped the crowd. His voice rang out like a clap of thunder amidst the shaky whispers. The entire room turned to him, their eyes wide. It was a desperate plea, but it only seemed to provoke Emily further. You refuse to see the truth. She spat, pointing an accusatory finger toward us. Your family is the reason I've been miserable. You have no idea how this has haunted me. The accusation cut, sharp and clean, and I could see the pain etched on her face. Was this really about me? About our family? Or was this deeper, rooted in layers of history I didn't understand? Everyone here wants to celebrate love, Emily, I managed to say, my voice steadier than I felt. It was calm, but a storm was raging in my chest. Not to air laundry that should remain behind closed doors. This day is for Jake and you, it's supposed to be beautiful. Emily sneered, and I saw her eyes glisten with unshed tears, but they burned with fury more than sorrow. Even the flowers adorning the archway seemed to wilt in the heavy tension. I realized this wasn't just about a house or secrets anymore. This was a war, a battle of wills, played out in front of everyone. Suddenly, Jake stepped forward, fists clenched at his sides, his brow knitted tight with confusion and anger. Emily, why would you do this? What do you want? My heart sank further. His trust was being shattered before my eyes, and I couldn't bear to witness it. The taste of betrayal hung in the air, bitter and sour. But in the chaos, I sensed a flicker of opportunity. Maybe you should find out exactly how your mother feels, I called out, challenging Emily, the words spilling from my lips before I had a chance to reconsider. With that, I felt the tension shift, leaning into me like an anxious crowd waiting for the next act. Emily's gaze snapped to mine, betrayal masking her features. You wouldn't dare, she snapped back, but there was fear in her eyes. Did she realize I was deadly serious? A part of me reveled in the thought of taking control, of being the architect of this fallout. But at what cost? Could I stand to watch my son be dragged into this mess? I glanced around the room, seeing friends, family, people I cared about, all caught in this maelstrom. The ticking clock felt deafening, each second a reminder that we were losing everything in a game that had spun out of control. Jake looked at me, then at her, caught between allegiance and love as the tempest brewed ever stronger. As the music played weakly in the background, fading into an obscure echo, I realized something had to give. And then the decision hung in the air, ripe with the tension of consequence. Someone was going to break. What would be left when they did? Would I be the villain of this tale, or could I protect my family from the fallout, even if it meant getting my hands dirty? The eyes of the crowd narrowed, eager for the next act, and I knew silence wouldn't be an option forever. What was I going to do next? Was I truly ready for the consequences that would follow? The moment lingered in the air, thick and heavy, making it hard to breathe. Everyone stood frozen, the crowd waiting for something to crack, to shatter. I could feel the palpable tension seeping into my bones, making me question every choice I would make from that point on. Jake's eyes darted between me and Emily, wide with confusion. The ground beneath our feet felt unstable, like stepping onto thin ice. What do you mean, Mom? He asked, his voice barely a whisper, quaking as if he expected an avalanche of fallout. Jake, my heart raced. What was I supposed to say? I just want to protect you. You can't see the real Emily, she's your family now. He interrupted, his voice rising like a wave about to crash. I don't understand. What's happening? Emily's laughter cut through the tension like glass shattering against the floor. And this is the family you want to be a part of, Jake? One that would sell your happiness to take revenge? Each word from Emily was laced with venom, carefully aimed like arrows. I could see the hurt splashing across Jake's face as if he was caught in an unexpected storm. The crowd absorbed each exchange, their shocked expressions shifting from one family member to another. I could almost feel them leaning in, waiting for the next revelation, the unseen consequence, the truth that would weave this tangled web even tighter. Stop, I said sharply, my voice snapping through the room. I took a step toward Emily, my heart hammering in my chest. I was done letting her pull the strings. You think this is about revenge? You think selling a house will destroy you? You're mistaken. This is about our son's future. And right now, you're the one jeopardizing that. Am I? She challenged, stepping closer, her finger raised like a lightning bolt. Or maybe you're too blind to see how history is repeating itself. You never listened then, and you're still not listening now. I felt the crowd shifting, whispers creeping through clenched teeth, and I feared I might drown in it. What does that mean? I demanded, desperate to snatch control of the conversation. What history? For a fleeting moment, Emily hesitated, her posture faltering, an unsure flicker passed across her features. You think you know me? Ha! You don't know the things I've hidden, the battles I've fought just to be accepted into this family. Jake's hands shook at his sides. Stop it. Just stop. His voice bore the weight of 1,000 emotions: frustration, disbelief, anger, and even fear. This isn't how a wedding should go. This is supposed to be joyful. The mention of joy twisted the knife deeper into my conscience. Was I the villain in this tale? Was I enough to help salvage the love and happiness we all craved? Every instinct in me screamed to reach for the emotional bomb Emily had thrown, but I struggled against the urge. There had to be a way to navigate this catastrophe. Jake, I turned to him, my voice trembling, you deserve to know the truth about all of us. But there's a right time, and a wrong time. I gestured around the chaotic room, this is a mess. We need to step away and heal. Emily scoffed, crossing her arms defiantly. Heal? From what, exactly? From the truths that have been buried beneath lies? Why not unearth every skeleton today? The crowd's murmurs turned into a low roar, every set of eyes sharpening, thirsting for the next piece of drama. Anxiety raced through me. No. I refuse to let you drag our whole family into this circus. But even as I said it, the quiet screams of my heart echoed within. What if I was doing just that? What if everything I tried to save was slipping away, like sand through my fingers? As the air crackled with uncertainty, I felt my resolve building again. The decisions weren't just about me anymore. It was about how far I would go to protect Jake at all costs, even if it meant taking Emily down a few pegs. What if I told you, I began slowly, words carefully chosen, that there's something more I can reveal today? Something that could change everything? The crowd leaned in closer, breath caught like a forgotten promise, and I sensed their fascination mixed with fear. The stakes were higher than any of us imagined. How deeply buried were the truths that would emerge from this chaos? And when they did, would they bring salvation or devastation? The room fell eerily silent, each pair of eyes fixed on me, wondering what I would say next. My chest tightened like a vice. The mention of truth hung in the air, shimmering with the weight of unsaid words. I could feel the pulse of anticipation, the collective breath held hostage by the unknown. Did they even realize the magnitude of what lay beneath the surface? Jake, I started, my voice steadying with determination, the truth isn't just about what has happened between us. It's about Emily's past. There are things you don't know. My throat felt raw, yet I pressed on. Things that could change your view on everything. Emily's eyes narrowed, her expression shifting from amusement to alarm. She stepped forward, fiercely defiant. You wouldn't dare. I wouldn't dare. I countered, a tremor of disbelief in my voice. You think your secrets won't come out? This wedding isn't just about you. It's about the family we're supposed to build together, and you've been hiding it all. You can't fully be a part of this family while dragging a shadow behind you. A ripple of outrage coursed through the crowd. It was evident they were split. Some wanted answers, others, peace. Jake, in all this confusion, looked like he was losing himself. His face contorted, processing the chaos, the accusations intertwining with the love he held for both of us. Mom, he breathed, a desperate plea mingled with confusion. What is going on? I swallowed hard. The stakes were rising, and it felt impossible to keep Jake from crashing into the storm. I leaned in closer, my voice dropping to a whisper meant for him alone. There are things about Emily that could hurt you. You deserve to know. Every heart in the room beat like a drum, the tension nearly suffocating. It was then a voice from deep in the crowd pierced through the air, an accusation disguised as confusion. What kind of things? It was my sister, always quick to challenge. The rush of collective fear buzzed in the air, and I could feel momentum swirling around me. Things about her family, I struggled to form the words, things about her father. He's not who you think he is. Emily whipped her head toward me, her expression a cocktail of fury and panic. You can't do this. She spat, the facade cracking. You don't know what you're meddling in. And then, inexplicably, silence washed over us. The crowd soaked in the gravity of my words, their indignation tempered by the reality that hovered just within reach. The uncertainty tugged at my core. I didn't know what I'd really unleash. But I needed to. For Jake. Her father, I continued, my pulse racing with every syllable. He's connected to the very reason our families fell apart, Jake. You've got to understand what and whom we're dealing with. Jake's eyes widened as he took a step back. The color drained from his face, the spark of innocence fading. What do you mean? Is he bad? Is that why you? In some ways, I interrupted, desperate to keep his heart from breaking completely, but you need to hear it all. Then Emily stepped close, the fierce fire in her eyes blazing. You're lying. This is twisted. My father hasn't done anything wrong. It's not just about him. I shouted back, the tension tearing at the seams. It's about you too. You harbor a grudge that could change everything. For Jake. With a sharp intake of breath, I locked eyes with Jake, pleading with him to see beyond the drama. I promise, if you just give me a moment. Before I could finish, a loud crash interrupted, like thunder shaking the walls. My heart stuttered, fear gripping me. The crowd broke apart as a figure pushed through, a disheveled woman who looked out of breath, her face twisted in panic. Stop. This isn't over. She exclaimed, her eyes darting between the chaos like a hawk. In that instant, I realized the stakes were higher than I thought, much higher. What did she know? Who are you? I demanded, my voice fierce yet trembling. Her response would change everything if we let it. What secrets did she bring with her? And what consequences would they wreak upon us all? The woman took a shaky breath, her wide eyes darting around the dimly lit room, frantically searching for someone. There was something in her gaze, an urgency, a desperation that chilled me to the bone. I'm Karen, she finally stammered, her voice cracked. Emily's mother. Gasps rippled through the crowd. It felt like the air left the room in an instant. Emily's shock morphed into a dark veil of fury as she stepped back, shaking her head. No. You shouldn't be here. You don't belong. Belong? What are you talking about? Karen shot back, her voice rising. Your father, he's been lying, and there are things you have to know about him. About our past. You think you're escaping the truth, but it'll find you. The tension morphed from static unease to a fierce storm brewing. Each breath I took felt heavy, pressed down by swirling chaos. Emily's face twisted with both anger and fear as she faced her mother. Shut up. You don't know anything. Emily's voice broke, tears glistening in her eyes, but all I could see was the wrath lurking beneath. I know enough, Karen shouted back, her voice a mix of pleading and accusation. Enough to say that you're making a mistake by marrying into this family without facing the truth. Jake remained still, caught in the crossfire of emotions that crashed around him. His gaze hopped between his mother and Emily, confusion washing over his features. The silence of the observers was heavy, each pair of eyes mirroring his own turmoil, a backdrop to this personal war. Emily, do you really want to hear more about your father? I pressed, needing her to face the truth so desperately that the words struggled to leave my mouth. Because he's done things, horrible things you don't understand. She interrupted, stepping toward me, her eyes wild. You have no idea what you're asking. Before I could respond, Jake stepped forward, his voice trembling under all the tension. "Mom, is it true? Is what she's saying, is it real?" His words hung in the air like a fragile thread, awaiting a cut. "What truth?" Emily screamed, glaring at both of us, her pain morphing into something darker. "You think I'm just going to stand here while you tear me apart? I won't let you. I'm not trying to hurt you," I exclaimed, eager to reach her. I want you to understand what all of this means. We can't build a future on lies. We owe it to ourselves to know." But Emily wasn't listening. She turned sharply towards Karen, her voice a hiss. "Get out. You lost your chance when you left. You have no right to come back and ruin everything." Karen stepped forward, pain etched deeply on her face. "I didn't come here to ruin, but to protect you. The real danger is still out there." In that moment, the tension exploded. "The danger?" Emily scoffed, yet her voice trembled. "You mean your mistakes? Your regrets?" The crowd stirred, whispers of shock cascading through them. My heart raced as I braced myself for whatever blast was imminent, the truth or the lies. Then a thunderous crash rocked the foundation again, louder this time. The windows shook, and I felt rather than saw the panic erupt in voices around us, the harmony between truth and deception teetering on the edge of chaos. "Get down!" I shouted, instinct driving me as I pushed Jake behind me. But then the chaos fell still, and in that thick silence, Karen stepped forward once more, a wild look in her eye. "Emily. It's not just your father, he's been hiding something about you too. Something you never knew." As her words rang out, the realization seemed to deepen the shadows looming around us. What truth had she come to share? An unearthly chill crept through the room, I could feel it under my skin. The stakes had risen again, perilous and real. The air thickened with the weight of impending revelations. What lay hidden beneath the surface? And would we be able to face the truth together when it unfurled? The room seemed to breathe with anticipation, every eye fixed on Karen, their silent pleas asking her for the truth. The atmosphere thickened, weighed down by uncertainty, and I could feel the pulse of fear racing through everybody present. Jake, who was behind me, slowly grasped my arm, his fingers trembling as he whispered, "What does she mean, hiding something about me?" I didn't have an answer. My own heart raced, torn between the known and the unknown. Emily's face turned ashen, her expression a blend of outrage and an almost pleading curiosity. "What are you talking about, Mom? Just spit it out." Karen's lips quivered, balancing on a precipice of revelation. "You're not who you think you are, Emily," she declared, each word like a bombshell, crashing down into the charged silence. "Your father isn't your biological parent." Gasps broke out again, filling the room like gas from a dormant volcano about to erupt. I could see the horror creeping over Emily's face, confusion and betrayal swirling in her eyes. "That's impossible. You're lying," she screamed, her voice reverberating, a desperate attempt to deny the truth hanging so heavily between us. "I wish I were," Karen said, voice trembling like a leaf in the wind, "but I have proof. I've tried to find a way to tell you proof." "You think you can just show up and drop this bomb on me?" Emily shouted, adrenaline making her shake. Tears streamed down her cheeks, a melange of rage and heartbreak. "You're a coward. You left me without a single explanation." Karen recoiled slightly, hurt and guilt casting shadows across her features. "I left to protect you, to give you a chance at a normal life. Your father said he would keep you safe." "Safe?" Emily's laughter was cold, like a winter's chill. "This is your version of safe? I'm standing here in a room full of people I barely know, my life crashing around me because of your mistakes." Jake's grip tightened on my arm. "What does this mean for me? Am I not her brother? Is that what you're saying?" Karen appeared stricken, torn between her aching heart and the truth she had buried for so long. "You're my son, Jake. That will never change. But this whole world you've known is built on lies." A collective intake of breath rocked the room as shocked faces turned toward Jake. The whispered questions hung in the air like a thick fog, and the realization that shattered through the crowd was palpable. The trust that bound them was fraying at the seams. Stop. I finally stepped forward, my voice breaking through the clamor. This isn't what we need right now. But even as I said it, I felt a tremor in my own resolve. What truth had kept Karen silent for so long? Was Emily really safe in this web of deception? The moment hung heavily before us, filled with brokenness and unanswered questions. I glanced towards Karen, her face marred by regret and desperation. She was fighting with shadows of the past that had refused to let go. Then, just as I thought the storm had settled, a loud bang echoed from the entrance. The door slammed open, revealing a figure cloaked in darkness. The crowd gasped again, voices trembling with new dread. In that instant, we all sensed it, the return of a ghost from the past, casting a chilling veneer over the shocking scenes. Karen, the stranger snarled, eyes fiery with anger. You shouldn't have come back now. The time is not right. Tension surged through the air like a lightning strike, and in that frigid silence, I could hear my own heartbeat drumming in my ears. What had Karen entangled herself in? And as the stranger advanced closer, I couldn't shake the dread pooling in my stomach. What dangers were closing in? The answers looming closer could change everything. The figure stepped into the room, blocking the light, creating a shadow that felt alive. The tension escalated like a pressure cooker, and I couldn't take my eyes off the stranger. His presence was magnetic, yet sinister. Who are you? Emily's voice quivered as she wiped her tears, suddenly looking less like a young woman grappling with shocking truths and more like a scared child. The stranger took a deliberate step forward, eyes locked onto Karen, his anger simmering just beneath the surface. You know exactly who I am, Karen, he growled, each word dripping with contempt. You've left a trail of chaos behind you. Karen's face drained of color. She looked ready to crumble. Sam, her voice faltered, as if she were grappling with memories best left buried. The room erupted in whispers. Sam? Is that who you are? Jake's voice trembled, clinging to a sliver of hope to comprehend this new twist. What chaos has my mother caused that involves you? Don't feed into their stories, Jake, Sam shot back, his eyes flickering like fire. They have no idea what your mother truly is, a liar who keeps the worst secrets. The air thickened, I felt it like a weight on my chest. The crowd's murmurs spread, tiny explosions of fear and confusion all around. What are you hiding, Karen? I pushed, caught in the fever of the moment. What does he mean? I never wanted to drag you all into this. Karen finally shouted back, her voice slicing through the confusion. I was trying to protect you. Protect all of you. Protect us? Emily shot back, her cheeks stained with hatred and pain. By turning our lives into a circus? That's your idea of protection? Enough. Sam raged, snapping the room back to a tense silence. Let us not pretend this is just about Karen's failures. You all deserve to know the truth. Emily and Jake aren't the only ones kept in the dark. What does that even mean? I shouted, feeling the urgent weight of the moment. Are you saying yes? Sam interjected. The truth is bigger than any of you realize. Your entire existence has been a carefully crafted illusion. And there's a reason for it. But what reason? Jake's voice cracked. What could be so bad? Karen faltered, her expression torn between fury and fear. We'll talk about this later. You don't understand, she pleaded, her hands shaking. Stop lying, Karen. Sam insisted, eyes blazing like molten steel. The longer you hide it, the worse it's going to get. They deserve to know everything. Suddenly, the doors swung open with a crash, and the room spiraled into chaos. Another stranger emerged, this one no less imposing than Sam, a woman, steel-eyed, dressed in a sharp black suit. She carried an air of authority, and her presence radiated danger. Sam! The woman barked, her voice striking the air like a whip. You're meddling in matters that are beyond your understanding. Stand down. But Sam stood firm, undeterred. I'll do what I must. They have rights to the truth. They have a right to know what their family has been tangled in. Gasps erupted anew. The air crackled, charged with secrets that felt too big for this room. I felt the walls closing in, suffocated by the enormity of the revelations cresting like a wave. What had Karen done to warrant such drastic consequences? And as the confrontation widened, I realized there were forces at play none of us could foresee. The question lingered dangerously: what was the bigger threat, the hidden truths, or the people trying to protect them? As tensions drew tighter, I sensed that our lives were about to spiral into a darkness none of us could predict. What lay beneath the surface was about to be unveiled, and I feared the truth would shatter everything we once held dear. Stop right there. The woman shouted, stepping between Sam and Karen. Her presence seemed to siphon the air from the room, a wedge of authority and intimidation. You don't understand what you're doing. She continued, voice gaining strength. Exposing these secrets will not protect your friends, Sam. It will destroy them. Destroy? Sam sneered, his lips curling with disdain. You think I care about their feelings when the truth needs to come out? Lives are at stake. The commotion swirled like a storm, and I felt paralyzed, caught in the whirlwind of emotions clashing around me. Jake's face went pale, a shadow overtaking his youthful features. Emily clenched her fists, tears of frustration brimming in her eyes. Who are you? She demanded of the woman. What do you know? I'm here to oversee matters that should never be exposed. The woman's gaze bore into each of us, and I felt a chill run down my spine. You don't know the game you're playing. Karen's voice emerged, shaky and low. Enough of this. You can't control everything, Miranda. They deserve to know what they're tangled in. Do they? Miranda shot back, her brows knitting together in a fierce glare. Do you think they can handle the truth? Silence settled heavily as we contemplated the weight of her words. There was a palpable fear in the air, suffocating and intoxicating all at once. Handle what? Jake's voice cut through the tension, steady but with an undertone of desperation. What exactly are we involved in? Jake, please, Karen pleaded, her voice cracking. But the moment hung in the air, heavy and demanding resolution. Enough games, Karen. Sam's fury flared once more. You've sheltered them for too long. They're not children anymore. They deserve to know about their legacy. About their father. At the mention of their father, both Jake and Emily recoiled, faces twisting with confusion and hurt. What do you mean? What legacy? All eyes fell on Karen, whose expression shifted from rage to defeat, like a deflated balloon. I did it to protect you, she whispered, hands trembling at her sides. Miranda moved closer, lowering her voice as if striking a deal with the shadows. You think dredging up the past will help? You'll only invite more darkness into your lives. This isn't just about you anymore. Sam spat, his body taut like a coiled spring. Shielding them from their own history is a disservice. They have a right to make their own choices. Right? What right do we have when everything's built on lies? Emily's voice broke, raw emotion shattering through her facade. Is that what my life is, a house of cards waiting to collapse when someone blows? As if on cue, the lights flickered, dimming for a moment before the generator sputtered to life. It felt like a metaphor. An ominous sign, as the flickering bulb cast shadows that danced like spirits across the room. In that brief moment of darkness, I sensed something shift. Something buried in the silence. Fear mingled with anticipation, an electric charge that left us craving resolution but terrified of its arrival. Make your choice, Karen, Sam said coolly, almost gently, his voice barely above a whisper. It's time to reveal what has been locked away for too long. What are you really afraid of? The question hung heavy, pregnant with unspoken possibilities. Karen was on the brink, the weight of our collective destinies balanced on the edge of her next words, and then, just as I thought I might burst with the need to know, she opened her mouth, ready to spill the secrets that would change everything. All of us teetered on the edge, waiting for the truth to strike. Would it unravel the last threads of hope we clung to? Or could the revelation provide clarity when all seemed lost? Her next breath carried the promise of upheaval that could either bind us together or tear us apart. What would she reveal that could threaten every relationship we had? Karen took a deep breath, her eyes darting between each of us, desperate for support, yet terrified of the fallout that might ensue. What I'm about to tell you, it could change everything, she finally whispered, and the room seemed to lean in closer, breaths held, hearts racing. Jake's shoulders slumped as if the weight of the world had collapsed on him. Mom, just say it. Don't keep us in the dark any longer, he urged, his voice cracking with the strain. Your father. Karen paused, swallowing hard, as if the name itself was a blade lodged in her throat. He wasn't just a man who disappeared. He left for a reason. A reason he never wanted you to know. Emily's expression tightened, jaw set, fists still clenched. What are you talking about? What did he do? Her anger was palpable, a sharp edge against the rising tension. Miranda remained silent, her face grim, as if the truth threatened to unravel more than any of us anticipated. The flickering lights cast a grim mood, shadows creeping closer like dark memories clawing at the corners of the room. He was involved in dangerous work, Karen continued, voice trembling. It wasn't just a job. It was a web of lies and betrayal that led to threats against our family. The truth was too terrifying for you to know. Sam stepped closer, his expression a mix of determination and fear. So you kept it from us? You chose to lie rather than prepare us? Because I didn't want you to bear that burden. Karen's voice rose, her panic spilling over. I thought if you didn't know, you could live normal lives, untouched by the shadow he left. A flash of anger ignited in Jake's eyes. Normal? What is normal about living in a world built on deceit? If Dad's in danger, if our lives are in danger, we have a right to know. Miranda's piercing gaze focused on Karen, her expression unreadable. You can't protect them from the past forever. They will find out whether you tell them or not. A thick silence hung in the air as the words settled like stones in our hearts. The walls seemed to close in, pressure building, thickening the atmosphere with every passing second. You want me to expose everything? Prepare for what's coming? Karen seemed to shrink, the bravado dissipating like mist before the morning sun. What if the truth doesn't help? What if it destroys the little piece we have left? We need to be prepared for anything. Emily shouted, frantically running a hand through her hair. I'm sick of being treated like a child. Just tell us, Mom. Then there was a loud bang from somewhere outside, causing everyone to jump. The noise cut through the tension like a knife. I felt my heart race, and I instinctively looked at the window. Get down. Sam ordered, moving quickly to shield Emily from the unknown. The atmosphere shifted, no longer just a debate of the past but a prickling awareness of the present danger. The fear of what lurked outside roared to life, almost drowning out the tremors of our emotional upheaval. Karen, what did Dad do that could bring this kind of danger? I breathed, feeling the cold sweat break out on my forehead. Karen hesitated, her eyes flickering with indecision. Just as she opened her mouth to speak, another bang echoed, louder this time, resonating through the house. It was a warning, and then it hit me. Were we truly prepared to uncover these buried truths? Or would the cost be greater than any of us could handle? Karen was teetering on the brink of revelation, and the world outside was stirring, threatening to burst through the fragile barrier we had built around ourselves. Her next words would no longer just change us, they could very well endanger us. What had we invited into our lives by seeking the truth? Would we wish we'd kept our eyes closed? Karen exhaled shakily, pulling herself together just enough to deliver what felt like a damning truth. He was a government operative. But he got involved in something dark, something that put all of us in danger. Her voice trembled, faltering under the weight. The crowd murmured, the energy in the room shifting from electric to heavy, suffocating us with uncertainty. What did that mean? My heart raced, thudding painfully against my ribs. Jake's brow furrowed, confusion and frustration etched on his features. Danger? What kind of danger? Why didn't you tell us? Because I was afraid, Karen whispered, tears glistening in her eyes. Afraid of the choices he made. Afraid of the people he worked with. They were ruthless and unforgiving. I thought I could protect you by keeping this buried. Protect us? Emily seethed, fury radiating off her. You've destroyed everything instead. What do you think this has done to us? Especially to Jake. Do you think he can survive these constant lies? Jake looked hollow, torn between disbelief and growing anger. It's not just lies, Mom. It's about family. How can we hold on when everything has been a mirage? Sam stepped closer, his voice lowering to a rare gentleness. If you want to protect them, Karen, you have to start with the truth. You need to prepare them. If this group finds out who they are, who you are, they will come for you. And for them. The statement hung between us like a knife, sharp and jagged. Jake's eyes darted between the two adults, his emotional turmoil boiling over. What does that mean? I don't even know who I am anymore. Look, should have told you sooner. You both deserve the truth, but it's not just about bloodlines. Karen's voice was pleading, desperate for understanding. It's about getting caught up in something that could destroy our family, our lives. What exactly is this something? I urged, the fear wrapping tighter around my throat. Just then, another loud crash from outside sent the shadows dancing once more. The pounding of footsteps approached, heavy and deliberate, a stark reminder of the storm we faced outside that threatened to invade our fragile bubble. Miranda's face hardened. This isn't just about secrets, but survival. What your father was involved in, it could compromise everything you've known. I don't care about any of that. Emily shouted, venomous rage filling the air. Her voice trembled under its weight. I want to know why we've been made pawns in someone else's game. It's not fair. Jake's voice faded among her cries. Is my life in danger, or isn't it? The room was thick with uncertainty, each moment stretching painfully long as the truth pondered for an escape. Movement outside drew our attention as the door swung open, revealing two men in dark suits, faces stoic and impenetrable. Did you bring her back? One of them asked, gaze fixed on Karen with an intensity that made the hairs on the back of my neck stand on end. Not now. Miranda snapped, her authority erupting like thunder. They have a right to hear this. Not at the risk of exposing us, the second man interjected sharply. We don't have time for this. You all need to come with us now, or the danger will follow you home. The urgency in his voice broke through our emotional turmoil, paralyzing us with fear. Why? I gasped. What do you mean? Your father's past has come back for you, one of the suits replied, glancing meaningfully at Karen. And it won't wait. Emily looked to her mother, her voice trembling with fear. What have you gotten us into? We need to go. Sam ordered, moving toward the door. We can't let them catch us off guard. Each heartbeat resonated painfully loud until I could barely hear myself think. But where will we go? As I looked around, I could feel despair creeping into the room, holding us hostage as emotions ran wild. Jake gripped my arm tightly, his youthful hope wedged beneath fear and uncertainty. We need answers. He shouted, breaking through the collective haze. If we don't know what we're up against, how can we stand a chance? You always taught me to face problems head-on. Jake. I began, almost helplessly, but his determination pushed forward like a tidal wave. Miranda strode closer to Karen, her words sharp and exact. Your family needs you present. You can't hide it any longer. They need the truth to have any chance of survival. Fine. Karen shouted, the desperation bleeding through her voice. But you all need to listen closely. There are things I have done to protect you that may come back to haunt us all. Time hung precariously in the air, and I watched as she took a step forward, summoning her courage. Your father was tangled with a syndicate involved in something much larger than we ever imagined, she revealed, her tone grave. And now they're coming for all of us, pushing to erase every connection to his past mistakes. As fear solidified in my chest, I glanced at Jake and Emily, their faces reflecting shock and resolve. Is it too late? I asked, my voice barely more than a whisper as dread chilled my blood. The world outside felt closer, danger threading its way toward us. No, Miranda responded, strong, certain. But you all must prepare. It's going to take every last ounce of fight you have. A wave of unintelligible fear crashed through the room, but through it, I also sensed something else, a spark of power kindling as we faced the truth together. My mind raced, desperate for stability amidst uncertainty. A bitter truth was creeping forward, but now, with our family and bonds laid bare, it was time to take a stand. Each of us would need to confront our dark past if we wanted to forge a future. Let us do this, I said, feeling the warmth of determination wrapping around us, weaving its strength against the chill of fear. Together, we would face the storm together, we would fight. This was our moment. We would not be broken, now was the time to band together, discover the truth, and unravel the web that ensnared us. And in that fragile moment, I knew this was more than survival, it was our chance for real living, for authenticity. There would be shadows ahead, but we'd face them united, let the reckoning begin. But as the question hung thick in the air, what hell awaited us outside? The outside world's charge continued to loom over us like an unrelenting storm. Now, it was time to give way to the path ahead, and pray to understand the chaos unfolding. You need to subscribe now, so you don't miss any heartbreaking twists in our next exclusive story. This is the moment to show your support and smash the like button now to feed the algorithm. Flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about our shocking revelations. And don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion. Your support means everything to us.